Right then guys, welcome to another episode of Hooked. My name's John Murray and I'm an angling addict, and today I'm down at Poolbridge Farm on the Horseshoe Lake. So I'm going to start out fishing the pool today. I've picked out an 11 metre line straight in front of me, just lined up with the tree on the far bank. I'm not sure if you can see that from here, but I'll just pop the body camera onto that for you. Basically I've got two rigs, I'll show you them shortly. One's a 0.4 gram Allen Scott on AS1 for fishing through the water. It's just strung out shotting pattern. Most of the shots are in the bottom half of the rig. We've probably got about a good 5 foot out there. It doesn't really deepen off, it's pretty much that from right on the inside, just maybe 2 or 3 inches deeper as you get out to 11 metres, but given the clear conditions in the water, I think it'll pay just to fish that bit further out. I may come back inside a little bit. The weather's not great again today. Yeah, it's forecast rain most of the day, some quite strong easterly winds, so at the moment it's quite mild. Certainly nicer than it has been. Next week's forecast to be absolutely horrendous, so we're taking the opportunity to get out. Target species today are bream, so with that in mind I've set up the ground bait, which I'll show you now. Right, today's ground bait mix is going to be Sonia Bait Super Crush Green 50-50 with some Van den Einde damp leam. What I'm going to do is I'm going to riddle the leam off. I'm just going to riddle a full bait tub full of that, and then add a full bait tub of the Super Crush Green. We'll mix the Super Crush Green up to start with, make it slightly wet, and then we'll add the leam into it and we'll just fold that in, and that should make a nice soft cloudy mix. So it's important to get the lumps out of the damp leam. I'm just going to run that through through the riddles into this little ground bait bucket. I've not brought my big buckets today, I don't need a lot of ground bait. And then just push the rest through. And we'll just set that to one side. I'm just going to mix this Super Crush up now. So this is fishmeal based, so Skimmers seem to love it. They see a lot of it in Poolbridge Farm. Mixing it wetter than you normally would, because when we add the lean it'll dry out. So it's quite damp to the touch at the moment, but that's going to soak up, so we'll add some more in a moment. Let's give it a couple of minutes to absorb that water. Right, so we've mixed the Super Crush up now, and it's quite damp to the touch, and it binds dead easy. I'm just going to start adding a bit of this. Probably won't add all of it. I've not made quite a full bait tub of the Super Crush, so I just want to go with about half of it to start with. Fold it in, see what that turns out like. I can always add more lean. I don't want it to dry out too much. Straight away I feel it drying up. It's a bit of a nightmare if you get it wrong, because then you've got to start atomising this mix. So that's the lean folded in, and if I squeeze that, just makes lovely soft balls. Got a bit of weight to them. You can squeeze them soft, let them go down, form a cloud, or you can squeeze them a bit harder and get them down to the bottom. So, you know, just making different strength balls or different compression on the balls can really help get a few bites. And we're just going to feed that in on the cup. The other rig I've got set up is a 0.6 gram Allen Scott on AS8 float. That's on a bulk shotting pattern, and that's actually on a bigger elastic, so should we start bagging up or wait into some of these bigger bream, I'll switch onto that rig and fish more positively. Bait tray today is a really simple affair. It's just casters, dead fluoro pinkies, dead reds, some green micro pellets, a little bit of corn, and if I'm really struggling, I've got some bread there and we can go on the bomb. Don't forget guys, if you enjoy the videos, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss an episode every time I upload one. Right, let's get some baiting and get some fishing done. So I'm quite simply just going to feed just a fairly loose ball of the ground bait that we've mixed up, and then I'm just going to cup over the top with a little bit of bait, so I'm just going to let that drop through the water. So just lining up with the tree out there. Might fish off the ripple bar at some point, but I'm just going to put this on the elbow for now. And we can always poke a little bit beyond it, which is no bad thing. Sometimes the bigger fish sit off the back. So we'll just drop this ball in, and then I'm going to, that's lovely, just putting a nice cloud into the water. That you can see that clouding up out there already. So what I'm going to do now is just sprinkle some bait over the top. I'm going to put a couple of grains of corn in just to try and tempt a few better bream. A few pinkies. A reasonable help in a caster. Some micros. And a few dead reds. So in sum total, there's not a huge amount of bait going in, but it's enough to really kickstart the swim in winter. Just going to spread that bait around a little bit, just around where we put that ball in. Give ourselves just a foot or two of area to fish into. And then just wash the cup out, get the last of it out. Job's a good one. So I think at this time of year it just pays to put it in little and often. So we'll just build the swim slowly and see how we go with that. The drop through rig is an Allen Scott on SF1 float again, gone with the yellow tip today. Then we've probably got 3 or 4 foot until the first shot. Yeah, probably 3.5 foot until the first shot. And they're just in the lower half of the rig, spread every 6 inches. And then we've got about probably 10 inches down to a size 20 silverfish barbless match hook. So we're just going to look for any signs of fish dropping through the water. We'll start out with a single fluoro pinky. Both rigs are set slightly over depth, about an inch. So we are fishing hard on the bottom, just laying a little bit on. Okay, so that 0.4 gram rig's sitting lovely. Just dotted down to within about, well, just over the bottom of the bristle, and just giving me enough so that I can read the bites and see them in this ripple that's developed on the surface. If this wind gets much harder, then I'll switch on to the 0.6 gram rig, which has got a slightly longer bristle on it. Right now that's holding nice and stable. So you can probably lose speed over the top of this, but what I want to do today is try and keep the fish concentrated in one area, so that's the reason I've only picked one line. I don't want to split the fish up in the swim. When they arrive, I want them to congregate fairly tight in the spot that I'm fishing. I say when they arrive, we might blank. There we go, that's a fish on. Just drifted off to the right, did that. Didn't want a positive bite, it was slow to develop. typical skimmer, but it's a roach. So we haven't blanked. We'll go back out on single pinky again. Just try and build this swim. Just letting the bait drop through the water, because I think at this time of year the fish often watch it down. Obviously fishing a cloud as well, we could lift a few fish off bottom, but I'm just trying to figure out what depth they're at right now. But the bites aren't coming significantly and the wind is getting up. That's gone though, we're in. So another small fish. Ooh, better roach than I thought. Well, that's positive. They're not the target species, but we'll take them for bites. So bites are slow at the moment. I'm going to try a big red. Oh, that wind is really getting up. Again, I'm just going to settle the pole in the rest. Just trying to sort my hand warmer out there. It looks like we've backed straight into a bream. Better fish. So the big red maggot selecting the better fish there. If we continue to latch into bigger ones like this, then I will get onto the heavier elastic. There we go. No problem on the matrix slick yellow. Lively fish. And that's exactly what we're looking for today. Only a small one. Ooh. Well, the wind's getting up again. Some gusty weather there. It's just ripped the pole out of the rest. Right, I'm just going to top the swim up with another bowl of ground bait, but I'm putting no extra feed in right now. I'm just trying to create an enticing cloud so bed for them to feed over confidently without putting too much loose feed in, minimising my chances of catching. Squeeze that one a little bit harder just to get it down. I'm just varying the strength of the ground bait at the moment, or the compression on it. Still going to stick with the big red for the time being. So in we go. Right, well, nothing on the big red then. Pole did get blown out of position. These gusts are a bit awkward. So I'm just going to put one of these tiny little micros on. So that's it, I'm just putting a tiny micro on that size 20. I've just tucked it on the tip there. Just trying to get a feel for what these fish will feed on today. I'll try the caster next, and then back on the pinky. If we don't get any more bites, I may put a little bit more loose feed in, just in the cup. Try and concentrate these fish. Ideally, I just want to be attracting them with the ground bait, minimising the amount of loose feed that I'm putting in, unless we really start catching. So no bite on the micro there. I'm going to be careful how many of those I put in today. Right, we'll try a caster. Bream love casters. Whether they'll love these or not, I don't know. They've been in the freezer for about 2 weeks. They look okay. Well, we're struggling for a bite on caster. So we'll switch back onto the pinky. That's a bite on the pinky. Just a little bit tentative at the moment, didn't quite take it fully. It's gone now, and we're in. So, at least the pinky producing a fish. Just a small roach. So I'll go back out on pinky, see if we get another fairly quick bite. If we do, I'll top up with a few of those. At least we know the roach are taking them. So we're not going to end up with loads of bait sat on the bottom. And that may just help attract a few more bream in. Well, the wind gusts are making it awkward. No bite there on the pinky, but the pinky's gone. I'm just going to move my telltale shot closer to the hook. Well, these wind gusts are a bit of a nightmare. They just grab the pole and whip it off to the side. There's not much you can do about that. Just got to run with it. That northeasterly wind is absolutely bitter. Right, well, I really am struggling to get a bite, so against my better judgment, I'm going to put a little bit of loose feed in. About the same, well, probably a little bit less than we put in initially. I just feel like I need to do something to try and make it happen. at the moment we're just not getting the fish. Right, I'm going to switch on to the bulk rig, just trying to get a little bit more stability in this. We're not really getting bites on the drop, so again it's a AS8 0.6 gram. Quite simply bulk shotted with number 8. That's probably 2 foot from the hook. And then we've got another number 10 dropper and a number 10 dropper about 6 inch from the hook. Again, it's set about 1 inch over depth. The elastic on this is a 4 to 8, but probably like a 6 in reality. Just going to lay the big red maggot on. There we go, that's a fish. Just started moving off to the left, that. Classic sort of looking bream bite. I think maybe just switching to that more stable bulk rig. Just improve that presentation. It's only a small skimmer. Incredibly lively fish. Yeah, just jumped out of my hand there, but anyway, we'll pop him straight back. Very happy to see him. So whether it was the introduction of the little bit extra bait or the switch to the bulk rig, I'm not sure. We'll go back out, big red on the bulk rig. We get another similar bite, and I'll top up again with a bit more bait. The rain's really coming down now. Pole's soaked and it's bloody horrible, to be quite honest. That was a bite. Bit of a short sharp jab on the float there. I have got quite a lot of tip showing. That's just so I can read it when the wind gets up. It's probably a roach bite, that. But that's positive. It shows there's a few fish out there willing to have a go now. I'm just going to lift and lower this rig. Easier said than done with this gusting wind. Oh, it's hard hanging onto the pole. Yeah, even though we had a bite on that big red maggot, didn't mark it. So we'll go back on the pinky. Okay, well this seems counterintuitive, but I've got to try and make something happen here. So I'm going to put some more feed in. I'm going to give it a slightly better helping of pinkies and maggots. That's all. That's a bite. Good dip on the float there. It's another bite. Again, fish dropped the bait. But it would seem by adding some extra bait in, we are at least tempting a few fish there. So maybe that's the way. Up the feed a bit. Right then, well the weather's got absolutely appalling now. It has been raining pretty much constantly for the last 45 minutes. It's freezing. Can't feel my hands on the pole whatsoever, so I'm switching onto the bomb. I can't get a bite now. The pole line just isn't working. So if I can actually manage it, I'll get some bread on the hook, go with the bomb and bread, get my hands in my pockets. Setup today is the 20 gram match cube, so the larger size to what I was using down at Raker Lakes on Horseshoe last week, but that's because it's windy and I'm going to get my fingers warmed up. A couple of very tiny movements on the tip, so it could indicate that there's some fish between me and the bait. There's definitely a few fish moving around out there. That's a bite. Bomb and bread doing the business. Feels like a roach. That's a skimmer. Well, it just goes to show the power of the bomb and bread. Only a tiny fish, but on a day like today. That's a bite. Absolutely buried round that. Came out of nowhere. Oh, it's off. Little skimmer. Just about to net it. It saves getting my hands wet. That was a good pull round there. Got my hands in my pockets, so didn't quite have a chance to hit that. Dropped it though. Might have had the bread away. I think we'll have to bring that in. That's a pull round. It feels a better fish. It's just waking up under the rod tip. Pulling. Don't want to lose this because I've waited so long for it. The other camera's pretty much died on its backside. This fish is having a good old tug down here. Oh, 6s and 7s. Camera gear dragging all over the landing net. I am stuck. Right, we're in a right old pickle. It's a bream. It was going like a blooming carp. I've never seen a bream fight this hard. Bending that rod through. I think it thinks it's a carp. It doesn't like the net. What is going on here? Oh, finally! Well, I was at 6s and 7s there. It's not a huge fish. It's certainly an half decent one. That bream thought it was a carp. Happy to see that. Right guys, well this weather just ain't letting up. I don't know how much footage we've missed off this camera, but yeah, for some reason I'm not getting power into it. It's run out of battery. It's just an absolute nightmare trying to sort these things out when it's peeing down, freezing cold. So I do apologise if you've missed a few fish, or you won't have missed that much though, to be fair. I think I've had about 4 bream and a couple of roach today, so yeah, it's been really tough. I'm going to have a couple more slings on the tip. I don't think this rain's going to stop today, so to be quite honest, it's thoroughly miserable. If I can get a couple more fish out for you, I will do, and then I'm going to call it a day. That is a pull. Just wait for that to go again more positively. It was a good tug, that. Almond bread certainly picks a few fish out. That's a little indication on the tip there. Just the tiniest of movements. Yeah, that's going. We're in. It's a bottom bread, producing a few fish. I mean, today has not been easy. The weather's been a challenge. The pole line just didn't want to produce anything. But bomb and bread, starting to pick some of these bream out. Again, this fish fighting as it's coming in. There he is. It's a nice skimmer. Another nice fish. I mean, it's been tough, guys. Don't get me wrong. I must be mad sitting out here in this. And I hope you're all warm sat at home watching me, because I am freezing. But at least we're catching some fish. the bread on the head, repeat the process. Again, another indication pretty much straight away. That's going around. We're in again. I don't feel a bad fish. It's come off. I think they're biting so delicately. They're easy to drop. It's a shame. That's going around already. Literally in seconds that. Didn't quite take it properly. Yeah, something just nibbling to the end. Right guys, that's it. Unfortunately it's getting harder and harder to try and get a fish out now. I've gone 45 minutes there without a fish. Had a couple of bites, a drop back, but never came through anything, so yeah, I think it's time to pack up and call it a day. So yeah, we started out on the pole. That was the intention today, to try and fish over fishmeal and catch on the pinky, big red maggot, caster, maybe even the micro pellet. Fortunately that line didn't work out. The rain started coming down. It's just been an absolutely miserable day. It's only just gone sort of 2:30 in the afternoon, and you know, it's pretty much like the middle of the night out here. So yeah, I had to abandon that idea. My hands just started getting far too cold because the pole being wet. So I went on the bomb, and as you've seen, managed to get a couple of bream out on that. But it's not been easy by any stretch of the imagination. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode every time we upload one. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, tight lines.